Picture this, 220 Seymour Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. If you drove past it, you wouldn't look twice. It was just your perfectly ordinary house in a quiet, working-class neighborhood. But today in this explainer, we're diving deep into the unimaginable horror hidden just behind that front door. We're going to walk through an incredibly dark, emotional true crime story of a decade-long nightmare and ultimately an unbelievable triumph of survival.
It's honestly hard to wrap your head around the chilling duality of this place. On the outside, just a completely normal working-class facade. But inside, it was literally 11 years of hidden hell. For over a decade, this quiet street masked a horrific reality. The scariest part? Neighbors were going about their daily lives, mowing their lawns, getting the mail, totally unaware that 3 young women were trapped, living a nightmare, literally just feet away from them.
So how does something like this even happen? Well, the nightmare unfolded methodically, piece by piece. In August 2002, 21-year-old Michelle Knight vanished. She accepted a ride from a man she trusted. Why? Because she actually knew his daughter. Then in April 2003, 16-year-old Amanda Berry disappeared. Again, she got a ride from a man whose son she recognized from her job at Burger King. And then, a year later in April 2004, 14-year-old Gina DeJesus went missing right after stopping at a payphone with her best friend. The incredibly sinister thread tying all this together? That friend was Ariel Castro, the captor's own daughter. He literally weaponized his own children to build a false sense of trust. I mean, let that sink in.
The man orchestrating all of this was Ariel Castro, and he lived a sickening double life. To the outside world, his public persona was totally normal. He was a guy who safely drove a school bus for 22 years. He played bass guitar in local bands. He even attended neighborhood vigils for the missing Gina DeJesus, comforting her parents. Can you imagine? But his private reality, well, he was a monstrous captor, manipulator, and abuser. He was smiling at neighbors in broad daylight while committing unspeakable acts behind locked doors.
11. I really want us to pause here and just let that number sink in. 11 years. Try to comprehend the sheer, suffocating weight of that. We're talking about over 4,000 days spent in total deliberate darkness and captivity. It's like life just completely paused for them while the rest of the world moved on.
The conditions inside that house were brutal. Initially, they were imprisoned down in the basement, but later moved upstairs, trapped behind boarded-up windows and doors locked from the outside. Castro had total, ruthless control over everything, when they ate, when they slept. The physical abuse was constant, and tragically, it gets worse. Michelle Knight became pregnant multiple times, and Castro would deliberately starve and severely beat her until she lost every single baby. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
And speaking of heartbreaking, Amanda Berry actually gave birth to a daughter in that house, fathered by Castro himself. That little girl spent the very first 6 years of her life entirely inside those 4 walls. She literally grew up in captivity. No grass, no sky, never once seeing the outside world. It's just devastating to think about.
But you know, every captor eventually slips up, and everything changed on May 6, 2013. It all came down to a single careless mistake. Castro left the house and, for whatever reason, forgot to lock the inside door. Amanda realized something was finally different. She saw her chance, crawled to the front door with her daughter, and just started screaming. Now, a neighbor named Charles Ramsey was literally just sitting next door eating his lunch. He heard her frantic cries, dropped his food, ran over, and absolutely kicked that door in.
What happened next is one of the most chilling and powerful pieces of audio you'll ever hear. On the phone with 911, Amanda finally shattered a decade of silence. She told the dispatcher, "Help me. I'm Amanda Berry. I've been kidnapped. I've been missing for 10 years. And I'm here. I'm free now." Within minutes, the police swarmed the house, running upstairs to rescue Michelle and Gina. Against all odds, all 3 women were alive.
And let me tell you, swift justice followed. Ariel Castro was arrested that exact same day. And the charges? An unbelievable 937 criminal counts. 937! In court, he tried to take the cowardly way out, claiming he wasn't a monster, he was just sick. But the judge was having absolutely none of it. He handed down a massive, inescapable sentence. Life in prison plus 1,000 years, with absolutely zero possibility of parole.
During that trial, the undeniable strength of these survivors was on full display. Michelle Knight got up, looked her captor dead in the eye, and delivered an absolutely incredibly powerful statement. She told him, "You will die a little every day as you think about the 11 years and atrocities you performed on us."
Talk about a mic drop. It was a stunning testament to her unbreakable spirit after everything she endured.
But Castro didn't face that reality for long. Just 30 days into his 1,000-year sentence, he was found dead, hanging in his prison cell. While he met a quick, dark end, the women he tormented finally got to step back into the light. They left their captor behind in the very darkness he created for them.
Today, if you go to 2207 Seymour Avenue, there's nothing there. The house was completely demolished, torn to the ground like it never even existed. Michelle, Amanda, and Gina survived the unimaginable. Today, they're rebuilding their lives, they are healing on their own terms, and they are writing their own stories. And that 6-year-old girl born in captivity, she finally got to take her first breath of completely free air. So I'll leave you with this to reflect on. How do you even begin to rebuild a life after 11 years in the dark? And what does that tell us about the absolute, sheer resilience of the human spirit?